Happy Monday, y'all. We are fresh off a Philadelphia Eagles victory over the Baltimore Ravens. That means it's our 8th straight win. Let's break it down.
Fasten your seatbelts for the realest Eagles and Sixers YouTuber! One who plays no clickbait and gets to the point. The myth, the legend, Nicky Steves! Come to my channel, you know the deal. Yo, boy, always keeps things real. I'm simply statue, think they slate, dropping unrealistic mags, 2K takes for the clip. Even though cats like that get views closer to the milli, never hear me preach, look on to Philly. Before you watch the Eagles all the way through the early 22, authentic talk, forget what others do. Come to my channel, you know the deal. Yo, boy, always keeps things real. The 24/7, 365 way. Sports content for the reals that feel the day.
Hello, folks. Yes, sir. We got the crowd here. We got Greg and John. Hi, Nikki. I'm dancing to music. Wow. That is in reference, folks, to my intro theme on my channel. All right. We got a hit going, folks. Pretty soon we'll be a star on Spotify. And we got Mitch stopping by, of course, as always. So credit to Mitch. He created my own brand for the channel, which for those of you guys that use StreamYard, you guys know what a brand is. For those of you guys that don't, it's kind of not the right time to explain it. I'll put it that way. But hey, of course, Greg is stopping by. Yes, sir. Go Birds. That's right. Mitch and Greg are hyped for this one. Let's get into it. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles, Baltimore Ravens. This did end up being a good game. I mean, because we knew going into it would be a tough battle, but ultimately the Eagles won. Because we know that as Philadelphia Eagles fans, there's always going to be that hate out there. There's always going to be those doubters trying to doubt the Eagles. And this game was the perfect opportunity to shut them up for a week. We played against the Baltimore Ravens, one of the top teams in the AFC. And, you know, we went out there and we won 24-19. Now, some people will say, and even, look, Arku just said it. Saquon is an MVP candidate. Yeah, that's right. Arku pointed out that Saquon's an MVP candidate. And this proves where anyone with an objective viewpoint, regardless of what team you cheer for, whether you're an Eagles fan, Cowboys, Raiders, whatever team, you know, Commanders, Giants, Packers, Vikings, whoever, whatever your team is, if you look at football objectively, everyone agrees at this point that Saquon Barkley is an MVP candidate. And I've said it before a few times, and yesterday, once again, proved us correct. Because I started thinking about, because I am Carlo, who's been a longtime content creator who does post-game recaps. But yes, hey, Marku, but, you know, love it or not, you got to respect it at this point. And the Eagles are doing their thing. And Mitch saying, as always, thank you, Giants. That's right, the New York Giants helping us out with that Saquon Barkley. Yep, with that Saquon Barkley deal. Right, yep, and as always, yeah, the Giants, our division rivals, helped us out for sure. And we know that already. But let's talk about Saquon a little bit first while we're on that subject. Saquon Barkley did have 107 rushing yards on 23 carries, and he's made the difference all season long. Because when we go through the games, real quick, let's go through the game, each game, and see what Saquon did. We go with the Packers game. His debut as an Eagle. He had 3 touchdowns in that game. Second player to score 3 touchdowns in their Eagle debut. Easily the player that won that game for us week 1. So that's a win we credit mainly to Saquon. Week 2 against the Falcons, we did have that drop at the end that could have won us the game, but I'm not going to solely blame that on Saquon. It was part, but not solely on him. The Saints game, that was kind of more of a luck type of game. I mean, but hey, we got it done. Buccaneers game, for whatever reason, we didn't really call the plays right. But then after that, we started to get back on the right track after that bye week. Browns game wasn't Saquon's best game, but then after that's when we started to really pick up momentum. The Giants, he had a field day against his former team. Can credit him for that. Against the Bengals, he had a solid game. The Jaguars, he had a good game. You can certainly credit him for that win, the way the Jags almost came back. Cowboys, he played a role in that. The Commanders game, big role for Saquon. The Rams, big role for him. And yesterday against the Ravens, big role. The 3 games I can look at the most and credit him the most were yesterday, the game against the Commanders, that Thursday night game a few weeks ago, and the week 1 game against the Packers are the main 3 games I credit Saquon the most for us winning. Because if you take away those 3 wins, you're talking going from 8-2 to 6-5 possibly. So that right there alone proves that Saquon's a big difference maker. No offense to Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and no offense to the defense, but I feel like the true difference maker in this is Saquon Barkley. Because he's ultimately the guy that helped us win this game last. But yeah, as I was saying, sorry, I got sidetracked for a second. But yeah, Saquon has helped us on this wave momentum. And yesterday was that. But it wasn't just Saquon, too. We got to talk about the team as a whole. Jalen Hurts, now, this wasn't his greatest game in the world, but you know what? He didn't do anything foolish or stupid. And he did have a couple nice passes. That drive where we got that first touchdown when we're down 9-0, Jalen Hurts, he threw the touchdown pass that helped us to Goddard, but he had a few nice passes on that drive that helped us move down the field. That was easily his best work and most important work of the day as a passer. So we got to give Jalen Hurts credit for that. And he was 11 for 18 passing. He didn't throw the ball a whole lot. But when he did, he didn't do anything foolish or stupid that cost us the game. So I can't be mad at that right there. His performance helped as well on top of Saquon's work. But that's the beautiful thing about having a top running back there with Jalen Hurts is, it takes the pressure off the quarterback. Because last year, there was a ton of pressure on Jalen, both from the standpoint of he was fresh off a near MVP season and the play calling was leaning heavily in favor of the pass, not the run. So that put a lot of pressure on him last season, and you saw it start to catch up to the team late in the season. That wasn't the only reason for the collapse, but it played a role in it. And now this year, there's not as much pressure with Saquon there. And that's another great thing about it, too. Not only is Saquon individually playing great, but it takes the pressure off our quarterback a little bit and reduces some of that anxiety going into games. It's particularly, he had a ton of pressure last season, but now with Saquon as his back, it's not as much pressure on him. And you started to see as the season got along, as this team found its rhythm, it started to show. But as far as the game itself goes, look, early on we kind of started off, struggled early, but hey, you know what? It was early in the game. And I'll admit, some of you guys may have felt the same way watching. I'll admit, early on when the Ravens jumped up to a 9-0 lead, I was getting slight flashbacks to the Niners game last year. Because remember, it was right around this time. Because remember last year, Thanksgiving was a week earlier. We played the Bills on that Sunday and won. Then we bounced back after that, and we played the 49ers right at the beginning of December. But yeah, it was right around this time last year. Right at the beginning of December, we played the Niners and we got blown out, and that started our collapse. But the point is, early on when the Ravens are up 9-0, I'm like, I was getting slight flashbacks. I'm like, oh no, not this again. But I also had to tell myself, okay, it's only early in the game. Let's just see how this plays out. I know it's not looking great at the moment. I know it's that time of year, but let's see how it plays out. And then when we got that touchdown to now milk down the Ravens' lead, for lack of a better term, I'm like, okay, it's not that again. We're at least making this a game. I mean, we weren't winning yet, but we were at least making the game, and that at least got me to settle down a little bit and be like, all right, Steez, this isn't the Ravens game. This isn't last year where we collapsed late in the season. We're at least making this Ravens game competitive. So they at least got, admittedly, some of you got, like I said, that at least got me to calm down a little bit from some of the flashback anxiety I was feeling a little bit when the Ravens jumped up to that 9-0 lead. Like, oh my gosh, here we go again. It's happening. But then that touchdown, all right, we weren't winning yet, but we at least got something. And then eventually we did end up taking the lead before halftime. We got another touchdown. We're up. I'm like, all right, now we're actually making this a game here. Still got a long way to go, but okay. We scored back-to-back touchdowns to take the lead. We scored that first touchdown, forced the Ravens to go 3-and-out, march down the field, 9 plays, 68 yards. Nice. We got the lead now. So we're doing something. Then they did kick the field goal to make it a close game at halftime, but it's like, okay, we're at least winning at halftime. It's funny. One guy he's a Cowboys fan that I talked to, but he even said to me, he's like, we just briefly chatted at halftime. He's like, okay. Even he admitted, like, hey, Eagles are the best second half team. Ravens are the worst second half team. It's kind of funny that coming from a Cowboys fan, admitting that we're the best second half team got me to think, all right, you know what? I'm a little more confident about this now going into the second half. Now, we didn't ball out in the second half, but to be fair, we were playing a good defense. And guess what? We still ultimately scored 10 points in the second half, which was enough to put the game away. I know it wasn't the same scoring clinic it was against the Rams in the second half, but you're playing against a good defense. You can't always light up the scoreboard every single game, but here's the factor. When you're going against a good team that's got a good defense that can get to the quarterback, because I said in my preview, the Ravens, I was worried most about the Ravens' ability to get to Jalen Hurts. That was my main thing I was concerned with going into the game. The point being is, yeah, the Ravens have a defense and they know how to get pressure. And they only got to him twice the whole game. So we at least stopped them from doing their usual thing where they know how to get to the quarterback and being a sack machine defense. We at least stopped that and we at least contained them. So that was good. Then we get to the third quarter. Both teams aren't scoring. You're getting punts. You got 2 missed field goals by Justin Tucker. That also helped us out too. Don't forget that, because if Justin Tucker makes those 2 kicks, they win that game. Because you take 19 plus 6, 19 plus 3, 22, then plus 3 more, 25. That's 25-24 Ravens. And then it's a whole completely different game. So, I mean, it sounds like some people will see that and be like, oh, you see, you guys got lucky. You took advantage of the kicker missing field goals. But you know what? Every game has some luck in it. Even when your team wins, every team has some luck go their way in their wins. Some games more than others, some games a little bit of luck. But if you're the fan, but guess what? That's football for you. That's the way it works sometimes. Luck can play in your favor. Sometimes it can work against you. That's just the way things go. But either way, missed field goals or not, we went through. Okay, we didn't give up any touchdowns and they didn't score any points. A little bit of luck goes our way in that, but hey, we didn't give up any points. We didn't score, but we went into the fourth quarter still ahead, and we didn't give up anything. We didn't give up any touchdowns. So it's like, all right, let's see what happens in the fourth now. And then what do we do in the fourth quarter? We go up, score a touchdown. We're up 21-12. I'm like, all right, now we're moving here. Saquon scored a touchdown, 25-yard play. All right, things are moving here. So that was excellent. So I'm like, all right, we're building momentum. Then eventually the Ravens go 4-and-out, turnover on downs. And it's like, all right, we could probably put this game away. Maybe a long drive, get some points out of it. Could milk time off the clock and put us up by a bigger lead. And we did that. I was hoping for a touchdown, but we had to go 11 plays for a field goal. But hey, 11 plays, you take some time off the clock, and you get that field goal. All right, at least we did something with that drive. And considering the Ravens end up scoring a touchdown to make it closer afterward, lucky thing we got down the field and scored some points. and we took time off the clock too. Because by the time the Ravens got that touchdown in the end, there wasn't enough time for a comeback. Because even when they scored that final touchdown, I'm like, all right, they did score, make it closer. And one hand, I did give them credit for moving down the field, getting up some points. However, there wasn't enough time for them. Even if they did convert an onside kick, there wasn't going to be enough time. So I'm like, I'm not even worried about it. There's not enough time for them to come back and win. I mean, credit to the Ravens for making a drive down the field at the end, trying to score, stay in the game, but we got it. And we ultimately took care of business. But I got to give credit as well to the defense because you know what? We shut them down. We kept them to only 19 points. And I said going into this game, the Steelers, we had to, I was trying to say, because I looked at in the preview what the Steelers did. The Steelers forced 3 turnovers against the Ravens. I'm like, if we can force turnovers, we have a chance. Now, we didn't get turnovers, but we did get a few stops. We did hold them to some punts. We did get a stop on 4th down in the second half. In 4th quarter, we did force 3 fumbles. We didn't recover, but we did force 3 fumbles. So, okay. All right. That's nice. We at least, that helped out a little bit. And we did keep them on. We kept them in check the whole game. And this defense, man, it's come a long way from what we saw at the beginning of the year against the Packers and against the Bucs in those first 4 weeks. It's crazy because even when we were on that winning streak, when we were beating teams like the Bengals, and the Giants, it was like, now the Bengals game, to be fair, that was a good effort by the defense because even though the Bengals record doesn't reflect it, they're still one of the better offenses. The problem is their defense doesn't give them much help, like we saw yesterday against the Steelers and their 2 losses to the Ravens. So we were at least able to contain the Bengals to 17 points. That was the first real spark from this defense that impressed me. Then against the Rams, we kept them in check, and the Ravens, we held them to 19 points. Keep in mind, one of them being a touchdown late in the game in garbage time. And we only sure, first quarter we kind of struggled, but once we found our groove, we got going. We were at least able to force incomplete passes. We slowed down Derrick Henry a little bit. He didn't go over 100 on us. So we were at least able to contain Derrick Henry. Because if he would have got more yards on us, it could have been a different game. And we speaking of Derrick Henry, gotta give big nods to Cooper DeJean. You guys saw the play, right? Cooper DeJean slammed Derrick Henry. I mean, he picked him up like an MMA, WWE style slam and threw him down. So give me 1 second. I'm going to look for that play. I'm going to show it to you guys. Give me 1 second. I want to take one more look at that play because that's showing you Cooper DeJean is that dog. And I want to, let's see it one more time. All right, here we go. Give him 1 second, folks. I'm going to share it with you guys. Here we go. So it's from the Eagles IG page. Let's take a look. Here we go. All right. Sorry, it's not going to be the best. It's not going to be full screen. It's only going to be minimum screen, but here it goes. Take a look. Oh, you see that right there. Watch it again. I mean, he picked him up. I mean, more like a double leg takedown in MMA than a WWE style slam. But guess what? That was still a nice tackle there. He did a double leg takedown and took Derrick Henry, the big physical specimen, down. That's what we need in our defensive players. That's why I'm glad we got Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. That was phenomenal right there. Beautiful play. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. I mean, I got to give it this defense, though. Seriously, it's come a long way this year. We've been keeping teams in check. Like that play is just one example of the way this Eagles defense has done its job keeping people in check. Let's see. But man, I gotta give. But it's crazy now because now we're in the drive. We're on pace with the Detroit Lions now. That's the real question now is, are we the real contenders in the NFC over the Lions? That remains to be determined. But I want to point out something real quick. Devin McCourty last night at halftime during the Bills 49ers game for Sunday night, when they were talking about the Eagles went over the Ravens, Devin McCourty made a case for the Eagles potentially squeaking out the number 1 seed over the Lions. Because he thinks there's a good chance that Jared Goff's performance in the cold might dip. Well, not necessarily a good chance, but he implied that he's not too sure how Jared Goff's going to handle cold games on the road, that possibly being a difference in seeding, leading to the Eagles potentially taking the number 1 seed over the Lions. So that's something I'm thinking about. I'm like, maybe that might be true. But let's take a look. So I'm thinking, let me take a look at the Lions schedule, see what they have ahead of them. Because let's take a look. We got coming up on the Lions schedule, see how much of a factor that could play. Like, they got the Packers on a short week, but that's a home one. They got a home game against the Bills, but that's a home game in a dome. Then they do have the Bears on the road. Considering the Bears did play them close, who knows? Well, then they got the 49ers. It's not going to be cold necessarily. I mean, I don't know, because the Lions got mostly home games to close out the season indoors in the dome. And the road game they have against the 49ers, it's not going to be freezing cold out in Cali, so I'm not too sure about that one. I mean, I don't think that was the best take right there, because they don't really have to worry as much about the cold later on down the line. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. And I gotta step aside for just a second, but I will continue this discussion. Give me 1 moment. All right, I'm back, folks. But yeah, as I was saying, we were talking about the Lions schedule. They play most of their games, though, at home. Now, it is possible they could drop some games just based on the quality of the opponents itself, though. Because they do have the Packers. That could be a winnable game for the Packers. The Bills, that could be a winnable game for Buffalo. And the Vikings, I mean, that could be winnable for the Vikings. So it is possible that the Lions could lose a couple games down the line late in the season. Now, I don't really see that happening because the Lions are a strong team, and I think they can overcome it. But they do have a few tough games on the schedule, and that could play a factor in the outcome as well. They could lose a few as we go down the stretch. We got the Panthers next week, which that should be a winnable game, the way things are panning out. Then you got the Steelers. That could be a tough game, but considering we just beat the Ravens, considering we've beaten the Commanders and the Rams, that's probably a win right there. And then you got the Commanders. We play them again. That could possibly be a win. Then by the time you get to the Cowboys, I mean, we should be able to win that one. And then the Giants, the final week, we could be resting our starters in that game. So there's a good possibility we can win out the rest of our games too. And the Lions, I wouldn't count on them losing because they've been playing phenomenal as well. But maybe the Vikings, the Bills, or the Packers, maybe one or two of those teams could get to the Lions and cause them to lose a game. But I wouldn't count on the Lions losing out. I would just count more so on the Eagles winning out to try to get home field advantage and hope that somebody can at least beat the Lions. Maybe a tiebreaker works in our favor that way. But we still got to see what happens as far as getting home field advantage. But even then, even if the Lions do get home field advantage, we're the number 2 seed. Say we play the Lions in the conference championship in Detroit. I got to ask you guys, do you think there's a real possibility the Eagles could end up beating the Detroit Lions in an NFC championship game? Because face it is a realistic possibility. And as of right now, the Eagles are the only team in the NFC that poses a threat to them. So is it possible we could beat the Detroit Lions in an NFC championship game? That's something we got to think about going forward. I mean, I'll give you guys want to comment, let me know how you feel about it as of now. Feel free to do so. But I feel like, honestly, outside the Detroit Lions, we're the threat in the NFC to possibly make the Super Bowl. I feel like we might be the one team in the NFC that could stop the Lions from clinching a Super Bowl berth. So don't be surprised if we get that NFC championship game later on down the line of Eagles versus Lions. That's something to consider, man. But that would be an interesting matchup we could talk about another game day, or I could drop a video on that separately on my channel some point. But anyway, with that being said, though, I think we're going to wrap this one up. I want to thank everyone that stopped by. Greg and John, Arku, Mitch, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for your support as always. To everyone following on the Nikki Stees and Hardcore Sports Network channels. As always, I appreciate your support. And with that being said, though, I think I'm going to wrap this one up. All I'm going to say before we go, I'm going to play a song real quickly. You guys know where this is going. Give me 1 second. I gotta skip that stupid ad now. Forget about it. All right, let's play this song, baby. Here we go.
Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
All right, so with that, everyone, thanks for stopping by, everyone. Thank you for your support as always. Joey Shake 72 stopped by for a brief second to leave a comment. Thanks for your support. Longtime Eagles content creator, one of the OGs of the Eagles YouTube community. With that being said, everyone, thanks for stopping by. Till next time, your boy Nikki Stees signing off. Fly.